Fans cried over this heartbreaking news. There's something about Mark Consuelos that makes him universally loved. That devastating smile, that easygoing, confident presence every morning on our screens. For years, he's been the picture of charm and vitality, whether on Live with Kelly and Mark, his acting roles, or as the heartthrob we all remember from All My Children. But recently, something changed. The ever-playful Mark, the man whose rogue energy and laughter could energize even the most chaotic morning show, began to withdraw. At first, fans thought he was simply overworked, juggling The Daily Show, his production company, and family life. But soon, subtle signs began to surface, and those closest to the family could sense something wasn't quite right. The disappearance everyone noticed. It began quietly. Mark, who was usually seen beside his wife Kelly at Broadway openings, Hamptons gatherings, and industry galas, started skipping them one by one. For nearly 3 decades, the Ripa-Consuelos union has been one of television's most admired couples, passionate, hilarious, unshakably devoted to each other. But when Kelly appeared alone at a New York charity dinner earlier this year, looking stunning yet somber, whispers began. She worked the room with her usual professionalism, but those who knew her well could tell something was weighing heavily on her heart. Insiders close to the couple later revealed that Mark had been quietly battling health complications far more severe than anyone realized. What began as exhaustion, the kind that comes from years of early mornings and non-stop schedules, had spiraled into something deeper. Behind that bright TV smile, Mark Consuelos was fighting a private war with his body. A hidden health battle. Friends say it started months earlier, small symptoms easily ignored. Fatigue, persistent pain, a nagging sense that something inside just wasn't right. Doctors initially thought it was stress-related. After all, the grind of a live morning show is immense. But as time went on, his condition worsened. Rumors of medical complications linked to a long-standing injury, one he sustained years ago while being notoriously active and athletic, began circulating. Sources say Mark had been quietly receiving treatment away from the public eye, determined to keep things private until he could recover fully. But the toll was visible. Colleagues noticed he had lost weight, his usual mischievous spark seemed dimmed, and though he did his best to keep the banter alive on camera, the strain occasionally showed in quieter moments. Kelly's silent vigil. Through it all, Kelly Ripa became his anchor. Those close to the family describe her as unwavering, graceful, and composed, but deeply worried. She scaled back on her own extra projects, rearranged their busy family life, and dedicated herself entirely to Mark's care. One friend confided, "Kelly has been the strong one for everyone, but this has tested her like never before. She's terrified of losing her rock." Kelly, known for her candor yet ultimate discretion about family matters, avoided any discussion of it on air for months. But when she did make a public appearance at a women's luncheon in Manhattan, her voice trembling as she spoke about the unseen strength found in a long-term partnership, people noticed the emotion behind her words. Observers said she fought back tears, her usual effervescent composure faltering for just a moment. Within hours, clips of her heartfelt speech began circulating online. Fans flooded the comments with messages of love and concern. For many, it was a heartbreaking reminder that even the most vibrant and seemingly invincible couples face battles no one sees. The man behind the smile. Mark has always been a man of remarkable charisma and loyalty, the sort who remembers every crew member's story, teases Kelly with a glint in his eye, and makes every guest feel at ease. But those close to him revealed that he's been struggling privately with recurring pain, believed to be linked to an old injury that worsened over time. He never complains, one live colleague shared. Even when he's hurting, he pushes through with that same trademark charm. But recently, it's been harder for him to hide it. Doctors allegedly advised him to take a step back, to rest, to heal, to allow his body to recover properly. And though he initially resisted, insisting he didn't want to let down the show or the fans, his loved ones, especially Kelly, finally convinced him it was time to focus on his health. A love tested in silence. The Ripa-Consuelos marriage has always been admired for its fiery passion and deep friendship, a genuine partnership built in the spotlight but rooted in private devotion. They often speak of each other as best friends and soulmates, and now Kelly has become his lifeline. Friends describe her as tireless, organizing appointments, managing medications, and creating a calm, healing environment at home, all while maintaining her own demanding career. At the same time, she's been doing her best to shield their 3 children from the full weight of the situation. "She's been incredible," another family friend said. "Even on the worst days, Kelly makes sure the kids see their dad smiling and fighting. That's what matters most to her, keeping hope alive." Behind closed doors, Kelly reportedly spends hours researching treatment options, speaking with specialists, and finding ways to make Mark's recovery her top priority. Her devotion has inspired those around her, a true reflection of love's quiet strength. The emotional turning point. The moment that shook fans came just weeks ago. Mark was set to make a brief, surprise appearance on a live broadcast. It was meant to be a lighthearted segment to quiet the rumors. But as he stepped onto the familiar set, those watching could tell something was different. He looked thinner, a little less robust, but his smile, that familiar heartthrob smile, was still there. When Kelly, her voice soft with emotion, asked him how he was really doing, Mark paused. The studio fell silent. Then, with remarkable honesty, he said, "Sometimes life reminds you to slow down. I've learned that health isn't something to take for granted, but I'm lucky. I've got a family that keeps me going even on the hard days." It was brief, but it said everything. The audience erupted into applause, not for the TV star they admired, but for the man behind the fame who dared to be vulnerable for a moment. The private battle continues. Since that appearance, Mark has largely retreated from the spotlight again. Sources close to the couple say he's focusing entirely on recovery, spending more time at home, away from the cameras. He reportedly starts each morning walking slowly through their garden with Kelly, savoring simple moments that once went unnoticed. One friend shared that the couple has been seen sitting quietly together, hands clasped, just talking for hours. "It's as if they're rediscovering peace in the little things," the friend said softly. Though updates remain scarce, friends insist Mark's condition is stable, but that his journey towards full health is ongoing. Kelly's quiet strength. For Kelly, this has been both the hardest and most defining chapter of her life. Those who know her say she's found solace in her family, her fierce love for Mark, and the kindness of friends who've rallied around them. She's also found a new depth to her voice, using her platform to subtly encourage others to cherish their health and loved ones. On a recent show, in a moment of unscripted sincerity, she delivered a monologue that left the studio silent. With tears in her eyes, she said, "Sometimes life pauses you for a reason. It reminds you of what really matters. The laughter at the dinner table, the quiet support of someone holding your hand through anything, the strength you find when you think you've got none left." It was clear to everyone this wasn't just a talking point, it was a glimpse into her soul. A love story that inspires. Kelly and Mark's story has always been one of electric chemistry and unwavering commitment. They met on the set of a soap opera, fell in love in secret, and built a life together before either truly knew what fame would bring. And perhaps that's what makes their bond so unbreakable. When asked once how they've managed to stay so solid despite decades in the public eye, Mark smiled and said, "Because I married my best friend before any of this began. She's seen me at my best and at my worst, and somehow she still laughs at my jokes." Now, that foundation of love is being tested in ways neither could have imagined. But those close to them say it's also what's keeping them strong. They're fighting this together. Every day, every appointment, every sleepless night, they're side by side, always. Despite the uncertainty, one thing has remained constant. Hope. Hope that time and care will bring healing. Hope that brighter days lie ahead. And hope that love, pure and steadfast, can carry them through even the darkest storms. Mark has reportedly begun light training again, slowly regaining his strength. Kelly continues to be his greatest source of motivation, encouraging him with a blend of love and her own trademark tenacity. Their story, while painful, has become a reminder to fans around the world of something profoundly human, that behind every public smile and every bit of morning show banter, there's a private battle. And behind a strong and vibrant man like Mark Consuelos, there is a woman like Kelly Ripa whose love never wavers. Closing reflections. As the world watches and waits for more news, one truth stands clear. The bond between Kelly and Mark is a masterclass in devotion. They have faced fame, constant public scrutiny, and now adversity. Yet their love not only endures, it seems to deepen. Perhaps that's why their story resonates so deeply. It's real.